It's a summer feeling with the Audi Sport TT Cup. In the fourth race of the season, the young pilots start their engines in the dunes of Zandvoort. It's the premiere for the Dutch racetrack in the Audi Brand Cup. And Audi secure a majestic coup as well in winning the Dutch Prince Bernard van Orange as a guest driver. After missing the free practice on Friday, his racing weekend begins with qualifying on Saturday.
In the car, I haven't driven it yet, so my first impression will be qualification. So it will be more to get the cars and be in a nice field and have a good weekend.
The Danish driver Niklas Nielsen leads the field into the first race in Zandvoort. The track, with the fast turns, claims its first victim when Simon Larsen bumps into Patrick Egsgaard, who then slides across the track and hits into Yves Meyer. Because of the long wait to clear the track, the race is set to 15 instead of 30 minutes. So after the first scare, racing takes place when Dennis Marshall performs a brilliant maneuver to overtake Philip Ellis. On the top, Niklas Nielsen is too strong on the day for the other competitors and takes his first win in the Audi Sport TT Cup. In race number 8 of the season, the young South African driver Sheldon van der Linde starts from pole. After a good start, he's able to maintain the lead. Excitement never far away when Garcia Radest from Poland slides off the track, hits into Pavel Lefterov while returning back on the circuit in an extremely stubborn way. With a strong performance, Sheldon van der Linde collects his fourth win of the season. Second, and with an amazing weekend in Zandvoort, Niklas Nielsen from Denmark.
Yeah, I would describe it pretty good, I would say, with the first place yesterday and the second place today. Yeah, racing is racing, and sometimes you're fast, sometimes you're a bit slower. And that was my situation today, as I finished second. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with the weekend.
It's the summer feeling with the Audi Sport TT Cup. In the fourth race of the season, the young drivers start their engines in the dunes of Zandvoort. It's the premiere for the Dutch racetrack in the Audi Brand Cup. The German, Dennis Marshall, arrives at the race near the North Sea as the leader in the championship and is looking forward to enjoying the circuit.
Yeah, Zandvoort atmosphere is something special, I would say, because of the beach, because of the wind, and also because of the track. It's an old tradition track, quite narrow walls at the edge of the track. So yeah, but I must say I like it a lot.
And so do all the fans in the Netherlands as well, and that's one of the reasons that the drivers are all very busy over the course of the weekend, signing autographs for young fans. Audi have landed a majestic coup as well in winning the Dutch Prince Bernard van Orange as a guest driver after missing the free practice on Friday. His racing weekend begins with qualifying on Saturday.
In the car, I haven't driven it yet, so my first impression will be qualification. So it will be more to get the cars and be in a nice field and have a good weekend.
As the owner of the racetrack in Zandvoort, the 46-year-old might have a little advantage, an advantage that he may need. Because in Adrian Thew and Peter Phil, he has two speed-addicted skiing champions as competitors. Although they have no experience and a completely different expertise, the two Alpine racers adapt fast to motorsport. With the help, of course, of the Audi team, they are ready to face a new challenge on another surface in Zandvoort.
Hey guys, what are you doing here? You should better try this one.
Getting a lot of useful tips, not only from the Audi drivers' coach, Marcus Winkelhock. The two downhill racers begin their last preparations, and once the skis are packed, the adventure on the circuit can at last begin.
It's my first experience. I was sometimes on the racetrack, but with normal autos, so with a sports auto, with the S-Line cars or the RS cars from Audi. So we have chance to try these cars on the racetrack, but not really race cars. So that's my first experience, and I'm really happy to stay here and to have this opportunity.
Here comes the starting grid then for race 1. Niklas Nielsen, pole position. Alongside him on the front row is Sheldon van der Linde. with Philip Ellis and Emil Lindholm on the next row. So here is the South African star then, Sheldon van der Linde, as we take a look at some of the drivers down there on the grid. P2 for Sheldon van der Linde. He has had 3 wins already this season. Then we look at the UK driver Philip Ellis, who's going from P3 on the grid. Good qualifying. And then the points leader, Dennis Marshall. He's further back down on the grid than he would like to be. He's got a lot of work to do from P7 on the grid for the current championship leader, the German driver Dennis Marshall. We await the lights to go out and we will be away and racing. Lights out now. Niklas Nielsen then will try and dive to the inside of the circuit to protect the inside line going into turn 1. Emil Lindholm right alongside Sheldon van der Linde, who's currently P2. This all before we even make it to turn number 1. So Niklas Nielsen then converting that pole position into the race lead as all the cars make their way around at turn number 1. And one gets turned around and is onto the grass, careering across the track, collecting another couple of cars as well. That's the guest car of Xavier Daff, I'm sure, that's involved in that. Yes, it is. As we zoom in, we can see the number 98 on the side of the car, but also involved in that is the number 12 car of Simon Larsen, the number 91 machine of Yves Meyer, and I think Patrick Egsgaard was involved also. The race has been brought to a stop then, red flag for race 1. Let's try in replay to ascertain exactly what happened there. We're watching the cars then away from the grid, all perfectly fine, and appeared to go through into the entry of turn 1 without a problem. Certainly didn't pick anything up. And then it was on the exit of turn number 1. So Larsen and Egsgaard get together. And then Simon Larsen is propelled into Yves Meyer, and Xavier Daff is the back end of Xavier's car is caught by the Simon Larsen car, or is it the Yves Meyer car? Let's see it from this angle here. There's Larsen across on Yves Meyer. There's Yves Meyer that runs into Xavier Daff. In any event, it was a huge crash. Now, what we can say is that the integrity of the Audi Sport TT Cup cars is very, very good indeed, and each and every driver involved in that incident has walked away completely unharmed. Same cannot be said for the cars, which will have quite a bit of work to be done by the Audi Sport TT Cup engineers overnight ahead of race number 2. All the cars, of course, are centrally run by Audi, and actually the drivers can have very little influence in terms of how the cars are set up. Tyre pressures, things like that, is just about all that they can influence us. We get the race restarted. Regrettably, the race duration has been reduced to 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes because of the time it took to recover those damaged cars. So, restart behind the safety car for the Audi Sport TT Cup drivers, along with all the guest drivers. It's a familiar part of the Audi Sport TT Cup, and indeed the VW Sirocco R Cup before it, where guest drivers are seeded into each and every round. The Audi Sport TT Cup cars also have the push-to-pass facility, and the pushing of the button increases the power from 228 kilowatts to 250. The nearer the back of the grid you are, the more pushes to pass you get, to give you more chance to get into the race action at the front. Also use push to pass to push to defend, though, as well as the race resumes, and we are back to race action now with Niklas Nielsen leading the race from Sheldon van der Linde, who is running in P2. So there is Niklas Nielsen crossing the timing line. Nielsen, van der Linde, then is Philip Ellis, Emil Lindholm, Max Hofer, then is Jonas Lappalainen, Dennis Marshall P7. So Jonas Lappalainen and Dennis Marshall, two drivers that have got a lot of work to do during the course of what is now very much a short sprint race in the Audi Sport TT Cup. The race duration brought down following that crash right on the opening lap of the race. So fantastic high shot then around the back of the paddock area. This very, very old school circuit here at Zandvoort, where there's not acres and acres of tarmac runoff area. Basically, as we've seen, if you go off the racing track, you're into grass or gravel or even sand, and this track really can invite you back. This is Dennis Marshall then, battling with Max Hofer here as they round the final turn and head over the timing line. Once again, they've got Emil Lindholm ahead of them. Dennis Marshall then, as these cars go very nearly 3 abreast. before they go into turn one. Dennis Marshall going all the way around the outside here. If he can make this overtake work, it will be the move of the race already, to be fair. And Dennis Marshall is really side by side with Emil Lindholm. This is fantastic racing from the Audi Sport TT Cup cars. Emil Lindholm with the inside line, but Dennis Marshall with enough momentum. What a fantastic overtake from Dennis Marshall, doing a brilliant job there and proving why he is at the top of the points chart. Now, of course, he wants to get right to the front of the pack here. We can see it in replay. Now, you have got to have so much courage, because that turn one, the Tarzan turn, it's cambered, it's almost banked, and you can see Dennis Marshall almost got one wheel out onto the grass, but held it all together and remained brave. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Bernhard van Orange then, we see in the number 95 guest car. Now, all the guest cars have the same livery. It's the red, silver and a black livery, as Pavel Lefterov gets just a little nerf there from the UK racer Josh Cagle in car number 14. Here we can see it in replay. It was just a little love tap, but a love tap at that speed is enough for Pavel Lefterov to have to dial in the opposite lock to control the drifting back end of his Audi Sport TT Cup car. Josh Cagle with just a little helping hand there. Brilliant super slow-mo replay, as now inside the target sights of Dennis Marshall is the UK racer Philip Ellis. Philip Ellis in the grey and white Audi Sport TT Cup car. Dennis Marshall in his familiar yellow and white colours. He's flashing his lights furiously at Philip Ellis ahead of him, but of course Philip Ellis is in a points-paying position. He's certainly not going to just pull over for Dennis Marshall. Marshall is going to really have to fight for this, and both the push-to-pass is being used in both of those cars. One being used to attack, one being used to defend as they head towards the Tarzan turn number one. So is Marshall going to do another daring move around the outside? No, he's not, because he's up the inside now, Philip Ellis, and it was another very, very strong overtake from Dennis Marshall. But Philip Ellis is fighting back here. Marshall, look at them, panel rub together, these two Audi Sport TT Cup cars. This around the final turn. It's Philip Ellis still with his nose in front. Nielsen, Van der Linde, P1 and P2, but this is a brilliant battle that's going on track in the Audi Sport TT Cup between Dennis Marshall and Philip Ellis. No quarter taken or given here through the chicane. Surely, Dennis Marshall's going to have to yield. No, he's not. And he pushes Ellis out towards the outside of the track. Another brilliant overtake from Dennis Marshall. It was very, very forceful, but it was forceful, fair fighting going on between the two of them, who over the last few laps have been absolutely brilliant to watch. Now this is Garcia Redest and Paul Holton, the USA racer. So Garcia Redest from Poland and Paul Holton from the USA, and Paul Holton ends up much worse off there, and in fact loses out a place to Patrick Hegsgaard. Dennis Marshall is absolutely scything through the order, and next in his target sights is car number 31 of Sheldon van der Linde. He's right alongside Sheldon van der Linde. Both of them are really feisty, exciting racers to watch, and of course, has to be said, Dennis Marshall has had yet more work to do because of the shortened nature of this race. But he's not going to be able to get Sheldon van der Linde. He's going to have to settle for P3, because it's Niklas Nielsen that takes the win. It's Sheldon van der Linde P2, but a fantastic drive from Dennis Marshall to take P3. Phil Ellis P4, then it's Jonas Lapalainen 5, then Lindholm, Hofer, Redest, Hegsgaard and Holton rounding out the top 10. Well, of course, the race duration was shortened following the accident right on lap 1, so we got 15 minutes of race action, but it was an absolutely blistering 15 minutes. Wherever you looked, there was some battle going on. But Niklas Nielsen, well, he did all the hard work in qualifying, to be fair, to give himself pole position. But he had to convert that pole into the race lead, and he did so with fine style. But the drive of the day has surely got to go the way of Dennis Marshall. Some fantastic overtakes from Dennis Marshall. Brilliant to see, as Niklas Nielsen then in super slow-mo crosses the timing line as the checkered flag is unfurled over his bonnet. Here's the result in full. Nielsen, van der Linde, Marshall, the 1-2-3 with Ellis, Lapalainen, Lindholm, Hofer, Redest, Hegsgaard and Holton rounding out the top 10. So Niklas Nielsen with his first win in the Audi Sport TT Cup now under his belt. He'd be delighted with that. He's congratulated, and let's hear from our race winner.
I just managed the race. I mean, the car was really good, and yeah, obviously really happy to take my first win in this championship.
Yeah, definitely. I had good speed in the beginning, but eventually he pulled away. My tyres just weren't lasting enough, so yeah, I'm hoping that tomorrow with new tyres we can win from the front, and yeah, I think we'll take it from there.
It was really tough, I must say, because P7 is not the best starting position for the race. Had some tough battles with some other competitors. Hard, but I think fair. So in the end, P3 and a podium is really good for me.
Hard but fair, I think, is absolutely accurate, as Niklas Nielsen receives his first trophy for his first win in the Audi Sport TT Cup. Sunday in Zandvoort, it's time for race number 8 of the Audi Sport TT Cup. The Finnish driver, Jonas Lapalainen, ranked 2 in the championship, is participating in his second season and is still enjoying his surroundings.
We've really bonded up with the guys from the organizational parts and the coaches Marco and Marcus, and of course last year's drivers are close, and now when there's new drivers we've all bonded together, and we, in a way, we form our own little family with all the, also the guys from the technical side, the guys working on the cars and everything. So it's great to be like in a way at home at the races.
Well, after a disappointing 5th place in the first race, the young Finn is willing to attack at the second run, looking to get the lead in the championship.
I think my race wasn't perfect because I had a bad qualifying due to traffic on my fast laps, and yeah, I started P6 and finished P5. Okay, I made a few places here and there, but then I had to give up a few places, and yeah, the speed was okay compared to the sessions before, practice and qualifying, and yeah, I think we have to work a bit still.
To get that speed, aerodynamics is the key. Thomas Ranft explains what makes the Audi TT Cup so special in terms of air movement.
An Audi
TT Cup looks different from a production model, of course. There are type approval requirements for road traffic. For example, in terms of pedestrian protection and curbstones that don't apply to racetracks. That's why we use a so-called splitter, made from carbon fiber. Does it break? No, not like this. Which wouldn't be surprising if we bear in mind that this splitter presses the front axle towards the ground with an additional force of about 100 kilograms at 200 kilometers per hour, so the tires offer more grip. How does it work? Well, the component splits the airflow. Only this little is diverted underneath the car. If the underbody rises behind the edge, the air diffuses over a larger space, creating negative pressure. The same amount of air within more space creates negative pressure, which sucks the car towards the ground. And in Zandvoort, where cornering speed is crucial, you raise the rear axle so that it sucks the car even more towards the ground. On a high-speed track like the Norris Ring, you set the car lower, reducing the drag on the straights. The downforce is lower then. By the way, Audi uses these aerodynamic findings in the development of production models. It's just it doesn't look quite as spectacular from the outside. So onto the grid we go for race number 2. It's Sheldon van der Linde in car number 31 that we can see there going from pole position. P1 for the South African driver, Sheldon van der Linde. Going from P2 is the winner of race 1, Niklas Nielsen. Another good qualifying from Niklas, and he goes from P2 on the grid. P3 goes the way of car number 11, which is driven by Max Hofer. We can see the car nestling behind our grid girl there. There is the Max Hofer car, 1:49.519. Max Hofer's qualifying time to give him P3 on the grid. And then Bernhard van Orange in a car number 95. Some fantastic photos down there on the grid going on as the grid girls make their way off the grid. It's time for the installation lap for race 8 at Zandvoort, but didn't go all according to plan for Yves Meyer. It was rain overnight, it has to be said, and whilst absolutely dry now, still some damp patches on the track, and unfortunately the number 91 car into the barriers on the installation lap, which is just a tad embarrassing. Also means the race over for the number 91 car and Yves Meyer. Okay, lights then. When we see 5 lights extinguish, we know the race is on, and away the cars go then. Sheldon van der Linde will dive to the inside to try and protect that inside line from the fast-charging Niklas Nielsen in car number 5. Keep your eyes also on the other yellow car, number 27. That's Dennis Marshall. He'll be wanting to scythe his way through the pack a bit as he did during race number 1. So hopefully all the cars through turn 1 without the repeat of the incident yesterday. Indeed so. Sheldon van der Linde leads the race then. Niklas Nielsen in P2, but he's being put under some pressure, it has to be said, in that P2 places. Sheldon van der Linde tries to escape up the road and build up some big advantage. Let's see a replay of the start here from our high shot atop the main grandstand here. And you can see P3 and 4 absolutely side by side as they go into turn number 1, and some real diving going on by Jonas Lapalainen in the number 4 car. And to be fair to Jonas Lapalainen, he was absolutely committed to this, but was just denied by Max Hofer in car number 11. So Jonas Lapalainen, another one of the drivers that's absolutely on a charge, and so too on a charge Emil Lindholm too. So okay, it's van der Linde is the order, and he's got a 2.6 margin over Niklas Nielsen. Then it's Max Hofer, then it's Jonas Lapalainen with Emil Lindholm, Dennis Marshall, Phil Ellis and Pavel Lefterov occupying the next spaces, as Dennis Marshall up the inside of the Emil Lindholm car now. It's another great overtake from Dennis Marshall, who's proving what a feisty racer he is. Absolutely brilliant driving from Dennis Marshall. Again, trying to maximise his points haul during the course of this race to try and cement his position at the top of the points chart. So here we can see it in replay. Sold Emil Lindholm an absolute dummy. Emil Lindholm thought he was going to go for the outside and therefore tried to make his Audi as wide as possible. Dennis Marshall then cut to the inside and was able to dive up the inside of the Tarzan turn number 1, and make that overtake stick. Bit of sliding going on there for the number 76 car of Paul Holton. It was a good save from Paul Holton, to be fair. Absolutely drifting around there. So Paul Holton with a big save and manages to keep the car out of the barrier. So well done to Paul Holton in car number 76. Super slow-mo then of him taking some of the curbs and just a little bit more as well. Bernhard van Orange then, before we see Paul Holton once again out onto the gravel. Well, here it's getting very lively between Emil Lindholm and also the number 23 car of Philip Ellis as they're side by side, and just rubbing his hands with invisible soap behind is Pavel Lefterov in the number 6 car, because if these two should come to grief, he's just there ready to pick up the pieces. As you can see, Pavel Lefterov is arguably in a better position than these two that are fighting, because he's just going to try and take advantage of whatever should happen here. A little bit of a touch there from Pavel Lefterov on the Philip Ellis car. Philip Ellis is going to deny him, but now Pavel Lefterov again just tries to go up the inside, but too much momentum from Philip Ellis. But now I think Pavel Lefterov probably has got the better. So push to pass being used to not only attack but defend as well. Whichever way you look through this Audi Sport TT Cup race, there are battles going on, and Paul Holton continues to entertain with some of his sideways driving that we've seen from the number 76 car and a slowly deflating front tyre, which would give us the reason why Paul Holton is finding that such a handful to control, I would suggest. Super slow-mo shot though of the Paul Holton car, and there it is, doing very nearly a 360, just managing to keep it out of the barriers. In the meantime, Sheldon van der Linde is up the road by 7.5 seconds over Niklas Nielsen. Then it's Hofer, Lapalainen and Marshall going to try and find a way past Jonas Lapalainen if he possibly can. In the meantime, this battle, which has been absolutely brilliant, which involves Pavel Lefterov in the number 6 car that you can see there, battling now with Garcia Redest in the number 3 machine. Garcia Redest going all the way around the outside at turn number 1, being extremely brave here. Just a little bit of a rub against the Pavel Lefterov car. But the Garcia Redest car is sideways now. It's on the grass. And the grass is still damp. The car almost speeding up and into the side of, or the back end of the Pavel Lefterov car. remarkably, they can all keep going. The one that's taken advantage of this is the number 14, Josh Cahill, the UK racer, who's seen all this happen and is going to get up the road and try and get out of their way, I should think. But Garcia Rodest is still driving at an incredible pace. Despite the damage to the front of that Audi car, it doesn't appear to be hindering its pace at all, unlike that of Pavel Lefterov. So there you can see the number 3 car with the front corner almost missing, but the Garcia Rodest car still travelling as fast as it ever did. You've got the Simon Larson number 12 machine ahead of Pavel Lefterov at the moment. Here we can see in replay, it was Garcia Rodest then and Pavel Lefterov that were battling hard together. And it was at this point here, Garcia Rodest tries to turn in, gets the car sideways on the grass, and following that rain overnight, the grass is damp and it almost looks like the Garcia Rodest car is accelerating through the grass. It's a complete illusion, but it does look that way. Once you're on the grass, you are nothing but a passenger. Well, certainly not a passenger is Dennis Marshall, who's trying to go for 2 at once here. First of all, he's side by side with Jonas Lapalainen in his quest to go after Max Hofer ahead. Is he going to manage to get past Jonas Lapalainen through the chicane? Indeed he does. Another great overtake from Dennis Marshall. Now in his target sights in the final lap. Can he do it? Is Max Hofer. Absolutely extraordinary driving from Dennis Marshall as Sheldon van der Linde takes another win in the Audi Sport TT Cup. And what a margin he has at the front. Before we see Niklas Nielsen to take P2, 9.4 seconds. Max Hofer is going to hold on for P3, but another brilliant drive from Dennis Marshall to take P4. P5 is Jonas Lapalainen. It's Philip Ellis that's going to take P6. Emil Lindholm P7. And for P8 it is Patrick Egsgaard, some 22.8 seconds down on the leader. Another fantastic race from the Audi Sport TT Cup, and Sheldon van der Linde is victorious once again to add to his tally of wins. And Sheldon needed a good weekend this weekend to put his points charge back on the right track as well.
Yeah, it feels great to do it here in Zandvoort. It's what we needed after Nürburgring. It really wasn't a good event for us, but to come back in this way and for the championship, it's really, really good.
Yeah, I would describe it pretty good, I would say, with the first place yesterday and the second place today. Yeah, racing is racing, and sometimes you're fast, sometimes you're a bit slower. And that was my situation today, as I finished second. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with the weekend.
Here's confirmation of the result then from race 8. Sheldon van der Linde taking the win, then it was Nielsen, Hofer, Marshall, Lapalainen, Ellis, Lindholm, Egsgaard, Rodest and Josh Cahill rounding out the top 10.
To participate in the nice TT Cup was great. In the beginning I could get a good speed, drive 49ers, but I think with defending I took a bit too much for my tires, so in the end it was a bit tough. But it was a good fight and I enjoyed being here.
There is the championship and the way it looks now. Dennis Marshall on 158 points with Sheldon van der Linde on 151. Summer break for the drivers now before the next round of the Audi Sport TT Cup at the Nürburgring in September.
Tu opinión nos interesa. Si tienes algo que decirnos, envíanos un mail. Esperamos tus sugerencias.
So we're here in the UK with the Bad Bull Mazda RX-8 and we're about to shred and let loose on the Magic Roundabout, one of the most crazy roundabouts I've ever discovered in the world. This place is crazy, there's so many islands and obstacles. A real challenging aspect is to be able to get in here, come flying into this roundabout as fast as we can and drift around it and straight back out the other side. So the Bad Bull we actually haven't used since 2014, winning Red Bull drift shifters. But this thing runs a 3-rotor, big Garrett GTX 45 turbo, boosts, well over 800 horsepower at the tyre. The entry into the roundabout, we're able to come in like 4th gear, so it was high speed, come flying around the big long section here and then right around the outside. So I wanted to make that really dynamic and really fast. One of the challenges here is so many obstacles. So we have drains, there's the islands, there's lots of elevation changes. What that creates is a whole lot of tension on the entire drivetrain. When I want a clip to come out, whether it's competition to win or whether it's just a short clip feature, you always push 100%.
Tu opinión nos interesa. Si tienes algo que decirnos, envíanos un mail. Esperamos tus sugerencias.
Yeah, I mean, I swear I've had like one legit crash in this series, and I've had so many mechanicals. I must be the unluckiest driver out there. But the brake pedal, I hit it, and it kind of was solid, then clicked to the floor, and that's a horrible feeling when that happens. And come back up and went for it again. I think it was only front brake, so it locked both front wheels and went straight on. And yeah, just before I hit the wall, obviously I braced, let go of the wheel, and copped it sweet.
Congratulations, you can now add your name to the list for Armour All pole position in the Supercars Championship.
Yeah, mate, when my engineer Dylan told me that we were on pole, I had to pinch myself driving down pit lane. I can't believe it. The whole Super Black Racing team, powered by Icebrake's done an awesome job all weekend. The car's been quick the whole time, and I didn't know if we managed this year, but absolutely amazing feeling.
Yeah, awesome. Great to be here. And 1, 2, 3, like, fantastic job. These cars are amazing. So thanks a lot to the team. I was surprised they pitted as early as they did, but they're racing each other. So we went for the time trial option and had good tyres. But so stoked. Thanks to Red Bull Racing and all our boys. It's awesome.
Tu opinión nos interesa. Si tienes algo que decirnos, envíanos un mail. Esperamos tus sugerencias.
In the preceding car to get an idea of exactly where he is in the mirror.
Yeah, we sort of click around this place. It's look, I've got to say, it's not often you get a really nice, easy car to drive in a race like that, and it was really important to get a good start. We're able to do that and sort of control a little bit of the pace. Jamie did a fantastic job holding off all the guys who were behind him, and we were sort of keeping check on that. But, you know, as I said, it's very rare you get a really easy, sweet car to drive, and Ludo and the guys at Team Vortex have definitely done that.